Okay, so we're gonna go ahead and start with this project, and I call this, eventually you know that we're gonna be working on making a 1-point perspective cityscape. So we've got some buildings, we've got some trees, you can add in some different things. This is another one, a work in progress, but eventually this is our end goal. So today we're gonna learn a little bit about making 1-point perspective and how artists use that to draw their pictures. I want you to get a sheet of white paper. Every time you start the project, you start with a horizon line. This horizon line is the line that separates sky from ground. The vanishing point will always be on the horizon line. So I'm just gonna put a VP, that means vanishing point. It's where everything converges back to in a drawing, whether it's a sidewalk, a road, or these lines in the building to make them look three-dimensional. So I want you to practice with that first today, and I want you to begin by making your own squares and rectangles on your paper. I want to see about 3 up here, and I want to see 3 down here. Okay, so pause it. Stop it. Okay, so now that I've got my horizon line, my vanishing point, and my boxes put around the paper, now I'm going to go ahead and start getting my lines going back to the vanishing point, making them look three-dimensional. What it's gonna look like is my lines are going back to that vanishing point, and last, I'm going to draw some parallel lines. So if this line is the top of the box or the top of the building, I am going to take my ruler and slide it back. Notice that the ruler is still horizontal. I'll draw another line, connecting the top to the other side. I'll go ahead and take my ruler again and do the same for the side of the box or the side of the building. Draw a line. Doesn't that look like a three-dimensional box now? These lines then can be erased. You've got your three-dimensional building. Then continue onward. Do the same to all of your boxes. Have them all going back to the vanishing point. Okay, again, my parallel lines. And the top of the box. There we go. Okay, I'll go ahead and do the top buildings, or the ones that are floating in the sky. Okay, and then lastly, again, my parallel lines. Making sure that my ruler does not slant. Okay. This is kind of fun. You can definitely see how these objects look three-dimensional. Okay, very cool. Oops, one more. Forgot one more. There. Now, go ahead and show your teacher. I want you to take a look, see if you got all your lines done, making sure that all your boxes look three-dimensional. And then once you're finished with that, go ahead and flip it to the other side. I know that some of you started this last time where it says 1-point perspective, use the vanishing. This time, the horizon line is already made for you. This is your vanishing point, and I want you to practice using your shapes that you see around your designs. Save the circle and the star for last. If you don't have time to do those, that's okay. You don't need to do those unless you have extra time. So I'm doing the exact same thing as I begin making my project, okay? Lines that go back to the vanishing point. Then I am drawing parallel lines that are horizontal or vertical, and now I've got my three-dimensional box. I'm gonna go ahead and do all of these, pause the video, and then you'll get to see what it should look like when it's done. We'll also take a moment and show you some non-examples of what not to do as you're doing this project. Okay, so I wanted to take a moment and show you what it looks like when I have all my lines going to the vanishing point. Once they're going to the vanishing point, it gets confusing because there's a whole bunch of different lines. So I want you to go ahead and take your eraser and start erasing the lines you no longer need. Whoops, I forgot one. The other thing that you'll notice as you're looking at my paper is I pretended that the circle and the star were not there. If you want to do that one I would do that one when everything else is finished, because it's starting to get too confusing about which line should be there, which line should not be there. The other thing that I want to emphasize today is I hope that you're able to see that all of these lines are drawn with a ruler. So once I've got my ruler lines going back, then I can do the erasing and trace in some spots that might have disappeared. But otherwise, don't free draw it. It is very obvious to people that if you are free drawing it or if you're using a ruler. Now I am free drawing right now because I'm tracing the lines that I just erased lightly. And so once these lines are there, sure, go ahead and darken them up so that we can see that your object is a three-dimensional object, okay? So I hope that this is starting to make more sense now that I erase the lines that are going back to the distance, and I've got my objects that now look three-dimensional, and now I've got my lines on the back side and I'm ready to move on. I've got my shapes on the front side and they look three-dimensional, and I think that I've done a really good job understanding some one-point perspective. I wanted to take a moment also today and show you some non-examples and what you can do. So as I'm looking at this example over here, some of the things that I'm noticing is this is a line that has been done in the past where the lines haven't been used, or they have not used a ruler. And so as you look at that, it's all wiggly. So try to avoid that by using your ruler. Secondly, when you look at these lines, do you see that they're parallel? Are they the same lines as what you see here and here? If not, please take a moment and fix that. That's something that we are going to be looking for as you show us your work. Let's go to another one. Again, is this line parallel to this line? Excellent job on the line that's going across. This line is going across, but it should be going vertically, because remember, this is going to be the back side of your box. So we want to fix that. Okay. So I want you to just use your time then today to continue working on one-point perspective. And lastly, this is another non-example. All of these lines are going back to the vanishing point. Kudos, good job. That's exactly what you should be doing. But I'm not sure why there's so many lines. Seriously, it's way confusing about where's the side of your box. I can't see it. So you are using, let's go back to the example. You are using the corners of your box to go to the vanishing point. We're not just drawing random lines to the vanishing point. We are only drawing lines that go to the vanishing point from the corners of our rectangle, from the corners of our squares, okay? Again, going back to our first set of directions, hopefully this helps as you continue moving into this side of your paper. Okay, hope you have fun. If you finish